right, good evening, everyone. My name is Lance Davis. I am the City Councilor for Ward 6, and as the most senior member of this honorable City Council in age, and also, if you measure it by being the only councilor who's old enough to remember when the Patriots were always this terrible, I get to preside to begin this evening, the meeting this evening. So, welcome to City Hall. Thank you all for being here. I hereby call this 2025 organizational meeting of the City Council to order on this, the 6th day of January 2025. In accordance with the Massachusetts Open Meeting Law, please note that video and audio of this meeting is being recorded and may be shown live on local access government channels and on the City of Council website and will be available for future review. Pursuant to our Rule 31, let it be known that this City Council salutes the flag of the United States of America, and let us recall our oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws of the Commonwealth to the best of our abilities and understanding. The Somerville Police Honor Guard will now present the colors. Thank you very much. You may all be seated. Will the clerk please call the roll?
This is roll call. Councillor Burnley.
Present.
Councillor Mba. Councillor Strezzo. Councillor Wilson.
Present.
Councillor McLaughlin.
Here.
Councillor Scott.
Present.
Councillor Ewan Campen.
Here.
Councillor Klingon. Councillor Said.
Present.
Councillor Davis.
Here.
Councillor Pineda Neufeld.
Present.
With 9 councillors present and 2 absent, we have a quorum.
Thank you. So the next business of the City Council will be the election of a president of the City Council for 2025. The floor is now open to nominations. Councillor Wilson.
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Judy Pineda Neufeld, Councilor from Ward 7.
Is there a second? Councillor Ewan Campen seconds. You have nominated Councillor Judy Pineda Neufeld for president. Are there any further nominations?
Motion to close nominations.
Motion to close nominations. Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Second has been made. On the question, all in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it, and nominations are closed. Nominations having been closed, the City Council will now vote for president. The clerk will call the roll on the election of our president.
Please state the candidate for whom you vote. Councillor Burnley.
No one.
Go present.
Present.
Councillor Mba. Councillor Strezzo. Councillor Wilson.
Councilor Judy Pineda Neufeld.
Councillor McLaughlin.
Councilor Pineda Neufeld.
Councillor Scott.
Present.
Councillor Ewan Campen.
Councillor Pineda Neufeld.
Councillor Klingon.
Councilor Pineda Neufeld.
Councillor Said.
Councilor Pineda Neufeld.
Councillor Davis.
Councillor Pineda Neufeld.
Councillor Pineda Neufeld.
Councilor Pineda Neufeld.
With 7 votes, Councillor Pineda Neufeld has been elected president of this City Council.
All right, you have elected Councillor Judy Pineda Neufeld, President of the City Council for 2025. I will now ask the clerk to administer the oath of office, and I will turn over the gavel to our new president.
right hand for me. Do you solemnly affirm that you will faithfully perform the duties incumbent on you as President of the City Council for the City of Somerville, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, under the pains and penalties of perjury? I do. All right, and I'm going to have you sign right next to where your name is printed. And it's official. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. The next business of the City Council will be the election of a Vice President for the City Council for 2025. The floor is now open for nominations. Councilor Yoon-Kampen.
I nominate Councilor Lance Davis.
Is there a second to that nomination?
Second.
Great. You've nominated Councilor Lance Davis for Vice President. Are there any further nominations?
Motion to close nominations?
Great. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
A motion to close nominations has been made. On this question, all in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. Nominations are closed. The nominations having been closed, this council will now vote for Vice President. The clerk will call the roll on the election of our Vice President. Madam Clerk?
Please state the counselor for whom you vote. Counselor Burnley.
Councilor Davis.
Counselor Mba. Counselor Strezzo. Counselor Wilson.
Counselor Davis.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Councilor Lance Davis.
Counselor Scott.
Councilor Lance Davis.
Counselor Ewan-Campen.
Councilor Davis.
Counselor Klingon.
Councilor Lance Davis.
Counselor Said.
Counselor Davis.
Counselor Davis.
Counselor Davis.
Counselor Pineda Neufeld.
Councilor Davis.
With 10 votes, Counselor Lance Davis has been elected Vice President of this City Council.
Congratulations, Vice President Davis. The City Council will now stand in recess for the organizational meeting. Will you come get sworn in, Councilor Davis?
I'm sorry. Do you solemnly affirm that you will faithfully perform the duties incumbent on you as Vice President of the City Council for the City of Somerville, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, under the pains and penalties of perjury? And I'm going to have you sign right on this one right here. I'll print it after. Yeah, right there. Awesome. It's official. Congratulations.
Congratulations again. The City Council will now stand in recess for the organizational meeting of the school committee.
I'm Laura Patone, the Ward 5 School Committee representative, and as the most senior member of the school committee in age, and definitely most senior in spirit, I hereby call the 2025 organizational meeting of the school committee to order on the 6th day of January 2025. In accordance with the Massachusetts Open Meeting Law, please note that video and audio of this meeting is being recorded and shown live in both local access cable television and on the City of Somerville website, and will be available online for future review. Will the superintendent please call the roll?
Through the most senior chair, Ms. Barish,
Here.
Mayor Ballantyne,
Present.
President Pineda Neufeld,
Here.
Mr. Green,
Here.
Mr. Bitton,
Here.
Ms. Bitton, Dr.
Present.
Ackman,
Here.
Dr. Phillips,
Here.
Ms. Krepchin.
Here.
Okay, with 9 members present and 0 members absent, we have a quorum.
The next item of business for the school committee is the election of the chairperson of the school committee for the year 2025. The floor is now open for nominations.
I nominate Ilana Krepchin.
Second.
So we have Ilana Krepchin nominated by Mr. Green, seconded by Dr. Phillips. You have nominated Ilana Krepchin. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Will I'll entertain a motion to close nominations.
Motion to close?
Second.
Motion to close from Emily Ackman, seconded by Mr. Green. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The nominations are closed. The school committee will now vote for chairperson. Superintendent, please call the roll.
Through the chair, Ms. Barish,
Ilana Krepchin.
Mayor Ballantyne,
Ilana Krepchin.
President Pineda Neufeld,
Ilana Krepchin.
Mr. Green,
Ilana Krepchin.
Mr. Bitton,
Ilana Krepchin.
Ms. Bitton,
Ilana Krepchin.
Dr. Ackman,
Ilana Krepchin.
Dr. Phillips,
Ilana Krepchin.
Ms. Krepchin.
Ilana Krepchin.
So we have 9 members that voted for Ilana Krepchin, so Ilana Krepchin.
We've elected Ilana Krepchin as chairperson of the school committee for the year 2025.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that you will faithfully perform the duties incumbent on you as chair for the school committee of the city of Somerville, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, under the pains and penalties of perjury? I do. All right, then I'm going to have you sign. It's going to be this one right here. Perfect. Congratulations. Thank you. So I now take this one. Okay. And the next business of the school committee is the election of a vice chairperson of the school committee for the year 2025. The floor is now open for nominations.
I nominate Sarah Phillips. Second.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. Are there any other nominations? All right, I will entertain a motion to close nominations.
Motion to close.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, nominations are now closed. So, we will now vote. Superintendent, will you please call the roll?
Through the chair, Mrs. Barish, Ms. Barish,
Sarah Phillips.
Mayor Ballantyne,
Sarah Phillips.
President Pineda Neufeld,
Sarah Phillips.
Mr. Green,
Sarah Phillips.
Mr. Bitton,
Dr. Sarah Phillips.
Ms. Bitton,
Sarah Phillips.
Dr. Ackman,
Sarah Phillips.
Dr. Phillips,
Sarah Fearberg Phillips.
and Ms. Krepchin.
Sarah Phillips.
So 9 votes for Sarah Phillips, that she is the vice chair.
Do you solemnly affirm that you will faithfully perform the duties incumbent on you as vice chair for the school committee, city of Somerville, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, under the pains and penalties of perjury? Yes. All right, then I'm going to have you sign. Thank you. Congratulations. All right, the next order of business of the school committee is the presentation of the order concerning rules and regulations for the government of the school committee for 2025. To that end, I will entertain a motion, which I have in front of me, so I'll just read it and then someone can make the motion. I move that for the conduct of the school committee of 2025, the rules and regulations of the school committee of 2024 be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Green, seconded by Dr. Ackman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next business of the school committee will be the election of seats for the 2025 calendar year. I ask Eleanor Barish and Liron Bitton to assist with the process. One over here. Name and then seat number.
First name is Laura Patone.
Seat number 1.
Next name is Eleanor Barish.
Oh, shoot.
Seat number 7.
Next name is Leron Bitone.
Seat number 4.
That's where I was last time. Andre Green.
Seat number 3.
Judy Pineda Neufeld.
Seat number 5.
Emily Ackman.
Seat number 2.
Mayor Ballantyne.
Seat number 6.
Here we are. Okay, you've recorded someone?
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. The next business of the school committee is the assignment of subcommittees, which we will technically vote on at our first full meeting of the year. But for now, those will be the Education Programs and Instruction Subcommittee will include Emily Ackman, Eleanor Barish, and Ilana Krepchin, with Dr. Emily Ackman as chair, Eleanor Barish as vice chair. The Finance and Facilities Subcommittee will include Sarah Phillips, Laura Patone, and Leron Bitone, with Dr. Phillips as chair and Laura Patone as vice chair. And the Rules Management Subcommittee will include Eleanor Barish, Leron Bitone, and Andre Green, with Eleanor Barish as chair and Leron Bitone as vice chair. Is there any further business before the school committee? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion to adjourn has been made. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The school committee is adjourned.
I call this meeting of the City Council back into session. The clerk will call roll to determine the presence of quorum.
This is roll call. Counselor Burnley.
Present.
Counselor Mba. Counselor Strezzo.
Present.
Counselor Wilson.
Present.
Also present.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Here.
Counselor Scott.
Present.
Counselor Ewan-Campen.
Here.
Counselor Klingon.
Present.
Counselor Said.
Present.
Counselor Davis.
Here.
Counselor Pineda Neufeld.
Here.
With all counselors present, we have a quorum.
It is now my pleasure to introduce the chair of the school committee, Ilana Krepchin, for our chair's address to the community. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone, and happy 2025. First, I'd like to thank my colleagues on the school committee for once again entrusting me to be their chair. As we embark on a year of uncertainty at the federal level, I want to call on all of us to reaffirm our commitment to our local values. While we know there will be challenges, I feel confident that we, as a community, can work together to continue to push SPS forward. Or at least that's the optimism I choose to have if I'm to chair again for another year. We believe in strong funding for our public schools. This isn't always easy, as there are many competing interests for the pot of local funds. But the school committee is committed to working with the city and the state to get the most funding available to us in order to do our best to meet the needs of all the students that we serve in this district. We believe in teaching with cultural competency and critical thinking infused in every aspect of instruction. We believe that presenting varying perspectives on historical events is important, the good, the bad, and everything in between. We believe in not banning books, but instead engaging in thoughtful discussion around potentially difficult content. In the face of attacks on civil rights nationally, we must affirm our support for our LGBTQ+ students, families, and caregivers, our immigrant students, families, and caregivers, and our Black and Brown students, families, and caregivers. Their stories and their success are integral to the progress of our entire community. We will likely be in for some challenges to our beliefs with the incoming federal administration, but the school committee is committed to use all the resources made available to us to best support our educators, students, and caregivers, and we are ready to fight alongside you for our shared values. And finally, I want to send a heartfelt thank you to every staff member of the Somerville Public Schools, because without you, none of this would be possible. I look forward to working with you in the coming year as we double down on our local values. Thank you.
And the next order of business is the address of the President of the City Council. So now it is my honor to introduce President Judy Pineda Neufeld.
Thank you so much. My speech is a good 4.5 hours, so if you're sitting, standing, and want to sit down and find a seat, feel free to do so. Perhaps if you're sitting next to an empty chair, if you could raise your hand to help those that need to find a seat. There's a couple of empty seats up here for those looking for a chair. Great. Good evening, colleagues, community members, and honored guests. My name again is Judy Pineda Neufeld, and it is an incredible privilege to stand before you here today as the new president of the Somerville City Council. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude first to the residents of Somerville whose passion and engagement inspire everything that we do, to my fellow councilors for entrusting me with this responsibility, and to the city staff who work tirelessly every single day to make our city thrive. Together, we are working towards shaping and creating a city that builds on our rich history, embraces our challenges, and celebrates our opportunities. And I'm excited to share that today, we are making history. It's the first time our city will be led by 3 women, our school committee chair, Ilana Krepchin, our mayor, Katjana Ballantyne, and myself as your city council president. And to all my family and friends here in these chambers and watching from across the country, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for always encouraging me on this journey. To my husband, Mark, who's feeding our son in the other room, thank you for supporting me and keeping me grounded. To my son, Isaac, thank you for reminding me of what's always important and for loving this city as much as I do. For those who don't know me, I'm the proud daughter of 2 immigrant parents. I'm Mexican-American and Jewish, and like so many of us in Somerville, grew up in a multi-ethnic, multicultural household that celebrated all sides of my family. My mom, the oldest of 9 kids, was born and raised in Mexico City and immigrated to Los Angeles as a single mom when she was just 26. Always the nurturing caretaker in her family, my mom taught me about my inherent strength and resilience and how to lead with love and compassion in all that I do. She is so proud to know that her daughter is the first Latina City Council president in Somerville's history. My dad, a child of Holocaust survivors, was born in a displaced persons camp in Belgium after World War II. He's been my political mentor my entire life. I've been shaped by his stories, from his time as a civil rights activist in the 60s to organizing for workers' rights in the Shipbuilders Union when I was just a baby. In fact, it was just over 20 years ago now that my dad taught me one of the most important lessons that stays with me to this day. It was April of 2004, and I was a student here just down the road at Tufts University. If you can remember back then, George W. Bush was president, and reproductive rights were under attack. A coalition of national organizations began planning what would become back then the largest pro-choice march in history in Washington, D.C., the March for Women's Lives. I got to work as a student and was proud to organize over 200 Tufts students to attend that march, which was one of the largest contingents of college students from the Boston area. My dad was never one to miss a march or protest, something many of you in this room can probably relate to. So he hopped on a plane to meet me in DC, and we marched side by side together on that historic day. After the march concluded, we all assembled on the Washington Mall to listen to speeches that would call on us to take action. As Gloria Steinem took the stage, my dad, out of nowhere, found some rickety old folding chair and excitedly grabbed my hand to help me climb on top of it. I thought he just wanted me to get a closer look at the feminist icon that was coming on the stage. But instead, he did something totally different. He grabbed my hand and he turned me around. What I saw behind me in that moment were millions of other people of all ages, all genders, all ethnicities, students, seniors, families with children, all standing on the Washington Mall because they too cared about reproductive freedom and women's rights. I saw the hundreds of tough students in bright red shirts that I helped organize to be there, most of them at their first march and their first protest. And I realized that my dad was teaching me something in that moment, that it wasn't actually about me. That this march, this moment, these speeches, it wasn't about whether or not I could see Gloria Steinem on stage at all. That didn't matter. It was about the hundreds of students I helped to organize, the millions of people on the Washington Mall, and more importantly, the millions more who couldn't be there, who were all fighting for the same cause. He taught me about the power of organizing, of building coalitions, of amplifying shared values that unite and inspire us. And it was about the importance of something called tikkun olam, a Hebrew phrase that literally translates to repairing the world. So Dad, if you're listening, thank you. I want you to know that I remember that moment on that rickety old folding chair each time I walk into these City Hall chambers and take votes, whether big or small. I remember that moment every time someone asks me why I do public service. And I'm committing to each of you now that I will continue to remember that moment as I serve as your City Council President this year. Because 2025 will be full of challenges and opportunities for all of us to come together to shape this city we all know and love and not lose sight of who we do our work for, all of you. Somerville, it's a remarkable place, full of remarkable people, and I feel so lucky I get to raise my son here. Known as the City of Squares, our vibrant neighborhoods are the heart of our community. From Teal and Davis to Union and Magoon, each square tells its own story of innovation, of resilience, and a commitment to inclusion. Our city is home to artists, activists, entrepreneurs, and families from all walks of life, making Somerville not just the densest city, but one of the most dynamic and diverse cities in all of New England. Where else can you celebrate fluff one weekend, listen to Guster play from a front porch the next, and discuss zoning policy with your neighbors in between? Only in Somerville. When I ask people what they love most about the city, what they most love about Somerville, the answers vary, but one theme always stands out, and I bet it's true if you ask people what they love about Somerville too. It's the people. Our residents are the heart of what makes Somerville so unique and so special. They're caring, passionate, and deeply engaged on the issues that matter. It's the sense of connection, it's the sense of community that truly defines us as a city. And that sense of connection and community matters now more than ever. In a time when our national political landscape feels more divided and polarized than it has in years, Somerville has the opportunity to stand out. This is where we can shine. By turning towards one another, not away, even in our most challenging moments. Somerville can be a beacon of hope, not just for our region, but for our entire Commonwealth and the nation. We can set the gold standard for what it means to be a truly welcoming, inclusive, and connected city and community. And so as we look together towards Somerville's future, we must confront the realities that threaten the well-being of that very community: housing affordability, transit and transportation challenges, climate change, the displacement of our small businesses, crumbling infrastructure, and so much more. As I stand in front of you today, I remember the feeling of standing on that rickety old folding chair over 20 years ago, looking out at a sea of people who were looking for solutions, who were looking for action, and looking for leadership to help guide them. And that's what we must do now together. Let's focus on the issues that unite our city, like defeating our common enemy, the rats, and discussing when is the new H-Mart gonna open? January 9th, just a couple days away. But really, I often brag to people that live in other cities that I get to serve on a city council that agrees on more than we disagree on. I feel lucky I get to serve alongside colleagues that share similar values. We all agree that our residents deserve housing that's affordable and accessible. Our residents deserve good-paying jobs, reliable transit options, and infrastructure that gets them there, and a thriving local economy built on our small businesses. We all agree that our youth deserve schools that aren't crumbling, spaces to gather like a youth center, and accessible out-of-school time activities. And that our city staff on the ground doing the work every single day deserve fair wages and benefits that allow them to continue that hard work for our residents. So let's build on our shared values. Let's build on all we agree on to solve our toughest challenges. Because when you really think about it, our discussions and debates about our challenges as a city, they all come down to how do we support our people that make this city so great. When we talk about how the housing crisis and housing affordability on this council, what we mean is we don't want to lose our neighbors to sky-high rent increases and the pressures of gentrification. It means we don't want to lose our seniors who want to age in place where they have lived for generations. We can continue to prioritize affordable housing policies, tenant protections, and creative solutions that ensure that everyone, from longtime residents to newcomers, can call Somerville home. When we talk about transportation and transit options and safe streets, what we mean is we want our neighbor who commutes by bike to work and drops their kid off at daycare on the way to get there safely and to get home safely. We want our neighbor who relies on the bus and the T to get to work to be able to do so consistently on time. And that includes better maintenance of our city's sidewalks and streets for everyone to use. When we talk about investing in our public school infrastructure, we mean that every child should have access to a safe, supportive, and high-quality learning environment. The challenges facing the Winter Hill Community Innovation School stand as a stark reminder of the work that lies ahead. And when we talk about the threat of climate change, we mean that building a resilient and sustainable city, it's not just nice, it's necessary, especially for the future generations to come. And when we talk about being a welcoming city, we mean that we want everyone here to feel safe and welcome, and we must continue to ensure that there will be equitable access to city services for everyone. These challenges are complex, but they're not insurmountable. Somerville has a proud history of rising to meet difficult moments with creativity, with determination, and with grit. As we move forward, I'm committed to fostering that spirit of partnership with this council, with our city staff, and with our school committee and mayor, and most importantly, with all of you. By working together, we can develop solutions that reflect our values to build a stronger, more inclusive Somerville. For me, I'm seeing the city and the world through the eyes of a toddler, my amazing son Isaac. The challenges and opportunities here feel different now, perhaps even more urgent for us to solve for the next generation of Somervillians to come. So as we begin this new year, I invite each of you to join us as partners, as advocates, and as neighbors. Together, let's continue to make Somerville a city that not only meets the challenges of our time, but does so with courage, with innovation, with connection, and with heart. Thank you so much for being here this evening, for everyone watching at home, and let's get to work together. It is now my distinct pleasure and honor to present to you her honor, Katjana Ballantyne, Mayor of the City of Somerville.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. It's an honor to serve this great city every day, and it's an honor to gather with you tonight. To my family, thank you. Your patience, your support means everything to me. You remind me daily why I do this work, even if they think I'm like 311 sometimes. Before I get started, I do need to say for a second time that I'd like to highlight that tonight is the first time in Somerville's history that the mayor, the city council president, the school committee chairperson are all women. This is a historic milestone in our city's leadership, and it's a testament to the commitment to progress and representation. And to think it only took 183 years. I'd also like to pause at the moment and acknowledge some of our state officials who are here today. Senator Pat Jalen, District Attorney Marion Ryan, State Representative Christine Barber, and State Representative Erica Eiderhoven. Thank you. So I want to speak about the guiding star of all the work we do here in our city government. Simply put, we are all driven to do right by all the people in Somerville. Every day we are charting a course for our city based on equity, inclusion, and progress for all. These are not just words. They guide the strategic investments of our funds. They are policies and plans that we hammer out together with our community, and then we work like hell to deliver on. I count myself as exceptionally lucky to work on this mission with such a fine group of people. Our residents want to create positive change and progress for all. For that progress and focus, I want to thank the City Council, the school committee for their support, the community for joining in, our many partners for strengthening us, and especially the staff, all of our staff, who never cease to impress me with their dedication and talent. I'd like to ask all the staff here to stand for a moment of appreciation. Thank you for all your hard work throughout the year. Whether it was the parking department rolling out safety stick cameras that help keep cars from blocking bus stops, crosswalks, accessible parking spaces, or fire hydrants, or our Office of Veteran Services honoring veterans with services and celebrations, including gearing up to reinstall our Korean and Vietnam memorials this year. Our 311 continuing to take record numbers of calls while building out their services to improve resident experience, or our IT working behind the scenes to upgrade our systems and keep us efficient. And there's so much more on the horizon that we're going forward on. Whether that's economic development and the Somerville Housing Authority securing a grant to launch free Wi-Fi for public housing tenants this year, or our housing and planning teams pushing development and construction of nearly 700 affordable housing units in our pipeline, my administration is moving Somerville forward. That said, before I dive into Somerville's story, we must acknowledge the elephant that's outside the room. The results of the 2024 election left many of us grappling with frustration, fear, and uncertainty. But while walking down Highland Ave recently, I spotted a sign of hope. It was a small blue lawn sign with an outline of Somerville, and on it it said, "All are welcome here. One Somerville. Diversity is our strength." I've got the same sign at my home. The cities, schools, and PTA distributed these signs at the start of the first Trump administration to show our community values endure no matter who's sitting in the White House. It bolstered me, certainly, to see it at another home. Yes, the sign is small, and it's faded from many years of weathering, but it is still standing, and his message is loud and clear. Somerville has hope. Somerville welcomes all. And for me, that means that Somerville seeks progress for all, which is the guiding force of my administration. Remember who we are. We are resilient, creative, and determined. We will treat our immigrant residents and all residents with decency, compassion, and respect. These are non-negotiable values inside the city of Somerville. Our progress comes in the daily work of local government, whether that's combating prejudice or filling potholes. So tonight, as we look back at the mountain of work accomplished in 2024 and ahead to the work and challenges that 2025 holds, let me say this. As the sands shift beneath us at the national level, Somerville will be your solid ground. We must all stand against hatred and division, be it racism, anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim bigotry, transphobia, ableism, misogyny, anti-Arab sentiment, sexism, or similar attempts at othering. When it comes to our immigrant residents, we're ramping up Know Your Rights trainings and legal support access, including the grim work of helping parents and guardians create plans for the care of their children should they themselves be deported. I will never forget back in 2016, as deportation threats were ramping up, my younger daughter, a third grader at the time, looked up at me and she said, "Mama, are they going to take you away?" I'm a naturalized American citizen, so I could comfort her that I was safe, but not all parents can. The next thing my daughter said to me was, "Mama, me and my friends are going to protect my immigrant classmates." I have never forgotten that. Somerville is not in control of immigration enforcement, but we will and we must adhere to the highest standard, a standard even a third grader knows is right. The challenges we face, whether protecting immigrant families or providing for those most affected by today's soaring costs of living, are made even steeper by national trends. To meet these challenges, we must ensure a stable financial footing. We can't control national economic forces, but we can protect our community by managing our local resources wisely. I am proud to share that for a second consecutive year, my administration has earned Somerville a AAA bond rating from Standard & Poor's. It's a first for our city, and high ratings save us money, your money. Our fiscal discipline allows us to continue the work we have started without pause or redirection despite economic uncertainties. Make no mistake, Somerville is facing the same uncertain economic outlook facing the state and our nation. And we navigate this down cycle as we navigate this down cycle in next year's budget will again be tighter. But our teams are hard at work finding operational efficiencies, and we are positioning Somerville to outperform the market. And we are using our financial strength to make deeper investments in the people of this city. Last year, we invested in new staff, road and sewer projects, green energy projects, a new fire station, expanded programs for youth, seniors, small businesses, and more to better serve our community. We also successfully negotiated agreements with 4 of our unions: emergency telecommunication, police dispatchers, crossing guards, firefighters, fire alarm dispatchers. One of my proudest achievements as mayor last year was our renegotiation of the E911 contract. The people who pick up the phone when you call 911 and make sure help gets to you are mostly women. We also have fire alarm staff who are mostly men. These 2 crews do essentially the same vital work, but the women at E911 have been paid less for decades. I'm proud to say the new contract delivers higher salaries, respectful job titles, new differentials, expanded benefits, and stipends that align E911 with those offered to fire alarm workers. As I've said many times, on my watch, Somerville will not stand for unequal pay for equal work. And tonight, I have good news on SMEA, which has recently changed its name to SMEU. But names aside, the good news is that we are days away from ratifying their new contract. We reached a tentative agreement for SMEU, Unit B, our largest bargaining unit, in December. This morning, SMEU leadership joined me in my office as I signed the memorandum of agreement. Next, it goes to their membership. I'm proud of this contract. It takes on more than inflation. We sent an arrow right at the heart of long-standing bias. That's gender bias, class bias, and educational bias. Bias that is pervasive in our society. Across 25 departments and over 70 different job titles, we did the work to be sure comparable work is comparably paid. If it is ratified as it stands, it will be a step towards equity that is decades overdue. As we go to work for you every day under these agreements, my goal is to be sure we are a city where every worker's contribution is compensated fairly so we can attract and retain the best talent and staff. Our dedicated staff is part of the equation, but community also drives what we do. At the heart of my administration lies the commitment to inclusive leadership. Progress is most impactful when it is created with and for the people. This has meant leading with intention, surveying hundreds of residents, holding extensive public forums, and engaging directly with community members. Inclusive planning takes time, but it is essential to achieving sustainable, equitable outcomes. From the moment I took office, I made it my mission to ensure that decision-making reflects the voices of our community. From our transformative plans for Brick Bottom and Assembly Square neighborhoods to our cultural capacity and Armory master plans to keep the arts in Somerville, or our anti-displacement and public safety for all plans that will nurture and protect our residents for generations. None of this would have been possible without the extraordinary efforts of community members who have shared their time and skills. Our residents are a tremendous brain trust of talent and knowledge. By embracing inclusive leadership and working hand in hand with our community, we are not just imagining a better future, we are building it together, turning aspirations into actionable progress. And I am proud to share we are making actionable progress on one of our region's greatest challenges, a severe lack of affordable housing. In Somerville, we are evolving housing stability supports from a small group of Band-Aid solutions to a robust ecosystem of initiatives. We have distributed over $9.5 million in flexible and rental assistance, helping more than 400 households stay housed. Our new municipal voucher program is also breaking new ground. It provides deep rental subsidies and has moved 29 families from uncertainty to safe, permanent housing. This year, we also launched a guaranteed basic income pilot. The program provides $750 monthly to 200 qualifying families, including Somerville Public School families, allowing them to cover essential needs without restrictions. But we are not just making it possible for those in need to pay for housing, we are making sure our city also helps build and fund the creation of affordable housing. Our groundbreaking Early Action Acquisition Fund has already purchased 15 units that would have been gobbled up by the open market. We also use this money to fund the development of 60 income-restricted housing units. And we have 684 units in our affordable housing pipeline. That's 684 real projects in some stage of permitting or development. We've also been pushing for state laws that keep people housed, and it's working. Thanks to Somerville's leadership, starting in May, eviction records will be sealed for no-fault evictions for the first time in the Commonwealth's history. I want to thank our state delegation for their partnership and support in the belief that everyone deserves housing. Our 3 anti-displacement task forces are another key piece of this puzzle. I asked each group to focus on the needs of specific populations, residents, artists, or small businesses. We will share the recommendations in February, and their findings will help guide the city's work to keep us whole. While we work to increase affordable permanent housing, we are equally committed to supporting our unhoused neighbors with compassion and safety. Being unhoused is not a crime. Our response to this crisis must be guided by an approach that not only acknowledges its complexity, but also prioritizes the health, safety, and dignity of all community members. This means addressing the root causes of homelessness with compassion while ensuring that public space remains safe and accessible for everyone. When the unhoused population in Davis Square grew this summer, we initiated a holistic response informed by our experience addressing an encampment under I-93 in East Somerville last year. In both cases, we led a multi-department effort in collaboration with our partners, the Somerville Homeless Coalition, tailoring solutions to meet the unique needs of each community and protecting everyone's safety. I want to pause to say a special thanks to everyone at the Somerville Homeless Coalition. Every day, every day, they go above and beyond to serve our city's unhoused population, and we are honored to work with them. Thank you. And we are using these approaches to address community needs around unhoused residents citywide. As we speak, our seasonal warming center is providing people with shelter from the cold. It just opened up down the street in the Cummings. And since I opened Somerville's first warming center in February 2023, we have expanded it every season, going from being open for 4 nights to almost 5 months this year. A big thank you to our council, city staff, our nonprofit partners for making this happen, and thank you to the school committee for graciously lending us the Cummings School building. Public safety and human dignity are not oppositional forces. We can uphold both. That extends to every area of law enforcement. Comprehensive public safety is about more than enforcement. It's about partnership. This year, I appointed Shumaine Benford as Somerville's new chief of police. Our shared philosophy is that effective public safety isn't focused on reacting after the fact. It's focused on building trust, fostering collaboration, and preventing issues before they arise. I am proud to share that this month we will release the recommendations from our Public Safety for All, Civilian Oversight, and Anti-Violence Working Groups. These reflect years, yes, I said years, of thoughtful collaborative work by task force members, a mix of dedicated residents, city employees, elected officials, and experts in public safety. To drive the work forward, we are hosting a community event in February, and we'll be hiring a Public Safety for All project manager to advance the path laid out in these plans. And our infrastructure and asset management and economic development teams, along with our fire department, are building Somerville's first new fire station in over 100 years. The new station will open in the spring of 2025 and will serve Assembly Square for decades to come. In this moment, however, public safety is more than being safe from broad threats like fire and crime. Safety comes with inclusion, rights, and respects. As an immigrant myself, I understand firsthand the challenges of navigating a new country. That's why the city has continued to invest in breaking down language and cultural barriers. The most recent U.S. Census data shows almost 25% of our residents are immigrants. So I have empowered our Summer Viva Office of Immigrant Affairs to lead citywide efforts to welcome and support immigrants and non-native English speakers. We are making big strides. Participation in community meetings and public processes has doubled in some areas, thanks to the expansion of translation and interpretation services. And in 2025, we are launching a citywide public interpretation line so residents can get support in their native language from their very first call. Inclusion means more than welcoming. It means making sure every resident can fully participate in community life. This year, we took many strides towards making Somerville a more accessible city for residents with disabilities. We bought the city's first ever Braille embosser, began ADA upgrade plans for our website, and installed dozens of accessible pedestrian crosswalk buttons. I want to thank the Commission for Persons with Disabilities and our Racial and Social Justice Department for raising the first disability pride flag ever in the city. Somerville is committed to being a place where every resident can thrive, no matter their abilities. In 2025, we'll be taking on senior homelessness with our Older Adults Bridge program. Thanks to a state earmark from Senator Pat Jalen, this pilot program allows the Office of Housing Stability to intervene with financial and social services to keep low-income seniors from experiencing homelessness while they are waitlisted for subsidized housing. From our oldest resident to our youngest, Somerville supports every generation. Our commitment to youth and development starts with our schools, where we've defied regional trends of cuts and layoffs. Instead, over the 3 years of my administration, we increased the school budget by 27%. And in our fiscal year 2025 budget, we added over 35 net full-time equivalent positions to Somerville Public Schools. Investing in youth doesn't stop at the classroom. My administration has invested heavily and expanded after-school programs and new youth opportunities. Among other work, in the coming year, we are piloting a school year expansion of the Mayor's Summer Jobs Program. We are launching Let's Get Working, a partnership between DPW and Somerville High School's Center for Career and Technical Education to offer paid, hands-on job training in professions like HVAC, plumbing, and carpentry. And as we need to connect our youth to the innovation and opportunities right here, we're exploring partnerships with area businesses like classroom visits, site tours, demos, internships, and work study programs where youth can tangibly see the possibilities. Recently, on a visit to Ultragenics, it's a new biotech lab in Brick Bottom, I ran into a Somerville High School graduate, now working as a researcher there. Her parents immigrated here, and she has been able to continue to live with her family in Somerville because of an exciting local employer hired her. This is the kind of opportunity we need to be sure our kids can see and reach. We must also advance workforce development for all ages if we truly seek progress for all. Through our school's Adult Learning Center, SCALE, and our City Division of Summer Promise, we are opening access to job training that offers gateways to good jobs. Already, Somerville Public School has hired 10 paraprofessionals who graduated from our para-training program. Earning a stable income and accessing career opportunities are two sides of the same coin. While housing programs address one side of the coin, the others focuses on job training and workforce development, equipping residents with tools, skills, and supports to secure sustaining jobs. It takes both sides of the coin to help people not only find homes, but to stay in them. In the face of the regional housing crisis, Somerville is leading the way, using zoning to combat displacement, preserve affordability, and create spaces for opportunity and connection. When our strategic plan, Summer Visions 2030, set a goal to create over 1,200 affordable housing units, many called it overly ambitious. Yet, as we enter 2025, we are on track not just to meet this goal, but surpass it. But we are not stopping there. Our transformative plans for Brick Bottom and Assembly Square neighborhoods could add another 1,200 affordable housing units. We are also using planning and zoning to encourage the growth and development of both green tech lab space and our artist community. Through the growth of the green tech incubators like Greentown Labs, we're helping foster innovation, entrepreneurship, and local job creation in sustainable technologies. We are equally committed to preserving arts and culture. During the pandemic, the city took ownership of the Armory to protect it as a creative hub. With over $500,000 in grant supports for the nonprofit Arts at the Armory, the building's largest tenant, and a new master plan shaped by community input, the Armory building will continue to serve as a dynamic venue for diverse artistic expression and community engagement. Through these efforts, Somerville is building a future rooted in creativity, sustainability, and innovation, staying true to what makes us unique. Preparing for a future also means planning for climate change. Our goal is to do our part and more, going beyond our borders to fight global warming. That's why upon taking office, I raised our climate goals from targeting just net zero, balancing the amount of greenhouse gases we emit with the amount we remove, to aiming to be carbon net negative by 2050. Being net negative means that our goal is to remove more carbon from the atmosphere than we produce. This ambitious goal reflects the urgency of the climate crisis. My administration has doubled the Office of Sustainability's budget and the number of full-time staff to tackle this crisis. And in 2024, I unveiled a wave of ambitious climate policies and programs as part of our updated Climate Forward Plan. This year, we will release a report exploring what it will take to switch our multifamily buildings off natural gas and onto cleaner electric energy. One of the potential solutions is a technology called networked geothermal. I mean, I am just so excited about this. My staff, I mean, I just can't, we're gonna take the Earth's heat. That's that steady temperature inside the Earth to heat and cool buildings above ground, offering an exciting opportunity to transition to cleaner, safer, cost-saving energy at a neighborhood scale. And in 2025, I'm excited to continue work with the community to bring clean energy to Somerville and seek funding for the project design. Okay, speaking of cool environmental solutions, DPW is now shopping in the produce aisle to keep our roads ice-free this winter. Their new pre-treatment brining system is made of beet juice. Turns out beet juice is really a superfood. The result is less salt on the roads, fewer impacts on cars, plants, trees, and lower winter maintenance costs. We're not just fighting snow, we are fighting for our environment, one storm at a time. This is the Somerville I love. Going way outside the box to find creative solutions. Empowering our residents means designing and building open spaces everyone can enjoy at absolutely no cost. In 2024, we opened and expanded 4 green spaces, broke ground on the Dillboy Athletic Auxiliary Fields, and a new park at 217 Somerville Ave. Just a few weeks ago, we celebrated Boynton Yard's public space created through a private development. This park is a perfect example of privately owned public spaces, or POPs. I want to thank our Public Space and Urban Forestry team for their leading edge work on this work for POPs in Somerville and in the landscape field. As a counselor, one of my proudest achievements was introducing Somerville's Native Species Ordinance. In 2024, as mayor, I was honored to build on that work and launch the city's first ever pollinator action plan to protect our native pollinators. This is a first-of-its-kind plan for a dense urban city like ours, and our hope is it can serve as a resource for similar cities across this country. By blending private development, environmental innovation, and community-driven planning, Somerville is building a sustainable future for all. And that brings me to infrastructure. We are not just imagining an equitable future. We are literally building it. If it seems like half the city is dug up or under construction, well, that's because it is. It is. Recently completed projects include Eastern Pearl Street, Powderhouse Boulevard, Holland Street, and more, and all are designed to improve traffic flow, pedestrian safety, and sustainability. And this year, we completed Phase 1 of Highland Ave's repaving. Now we are getting ready for Highland Ave's full redesign, bringing this vital corridor into the 21st century. Then there's the massive overhaul of our sewer systems. We are spending $243 million on the Somerville Ave sewer overhaul, the Spring Hill sewer separation project, and the massive Poplar Street pump station. And can we celebrate just for a moment? Last month, we were one of only 4 school projects to advance to the feasibility phase in the Massachusetts School Building Authority state funding program. We are now one step closer to significant funding for Winter Hill School project, which could possibly include the Brown if that turns out to be the best option. The important thing I want you to take away is that we are literally laying the foundation to be a thriving, clean, and forward-looking city for its residents long into the future. At the start of tonight, I spoke about the threats from a change in Washington, D.C., and about the growing narrative that diversity, equity, and inclusion are outdated, and that government has no role in making our lives better. Our work proves otherwise. When equity for people guides local action, progress for all follows. Consider that our residents just voted to increase our Community Preservation Act surcharge, unlocking funding for affordable housing, open space, historic preservation, and recreation space. When I think about the future, I see a city that continues to live up to that determined little blue yard sign on Highland Ave. All are welcome here. One Somerville. Diversity is our strength. So tonight, I thank you, not just for being here, but for helping us act on the values that make Somerville truly special. Together, we'll face whatever comes our way.
Thank you so much, Mayor Ballantyne. The next business to come before the City Council will be the consideration of further items on the agenda. Will the clerk please read the first item?
Item 5.1 is an order by Councilor Ewan-Campen that this City Council adopts for 2025 the rules of the City Council as approved on May 9th, 2024.
Is there a second to that motion? Great. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. That order is approved. Will the clerk please read the next item?
Item 5.2 is an order by Councilor Pineda Neufeld that this City Council hereby revives all business pending before this Council or its committees at the end of 2024 and recommits the revived items back to this Council or its proper committees as attached.
Seeing no objection, that item is approved. Next item.
Item 5.3 is an order by Councilor Wilson that the bonds of the City Treasurer and Tax Collector be hereby accepted and approved.
Seeing no objection, that item is approved. Next item.
Item 5.4 is an order by Councilor Scott that the City Treasurer is hereby authorized to appoint deputy tax collectors.
Seeing no objection, that item is approved. Next item.
Item 5.5 is a communication by Councilor Pineda Neufeld in her capacity as President, conveying this Council's standing and special committee assignments and commission appointments for 2025.
Colleagues, I have forwarded the committee assignments to the clerk that have been posted already online. There will be one update for our meeting on Thursday, so look for that. But seeing no objection, that item is placed on file. Next item.
And the next order of business is the drawing of seats.
Very exciting stuff, right? I hereby appoint Councillor Klingon to draw a councillor's name while Councillor Said draws a seat number. Please come on up.
Councilor Ewan-Campen.
Seat number 3.
Councilor Jessica Klingon.
Seat number 9.
Councilor Willie Burnley Jr.
Seat number 6.
Counselor Jake Wilson.
Seat number 2.
Counselor J.T. Scott.
Seat number 4.
Counselor Naima Said.
Seat number 7.
Counselor Will Mba.
Seat number 1.
Counselor Matthew McLaughlin.
Seat number 5.
And that just leaves finally Counselor Kristen Strezzo.
Seat number 8.
And there you have it.
All right, the seats have been drawn. Is there any further business before the City Council?
Madam President, there is no further business before this council.
There being no further business, we are now adjourned. I wish you all a happy and healthy 2025. Thank you so much for being here, and good night. And school committee members and city councilors, please join us here for a group photo. Thank you.